Now, a year ago... Wait, what? 2020 was 2 years ago? 2 years ago, I made a video about obscure Bionicle merchandise. I was not expecting the video to perform as well as it did, and I felt really good about it. It performed extremely well, and I think I brought attention to a lot of obscure Bionicle pieces that most of the community probably doesn't know. I'm sure your average Bionicle guy knows about the sets, the movies, the video games, and the books, but I highly doubt your average fan knows that LEGO released Nerf guns. It's just not your average conversation. However, you guys really came through and alerted me to other pieces of Bionicle media that I wasn't even aware of myself. So, in honor of that, I'm going to make another top 10 video on obscure Bionicle merchandise. Now, of course, I'm going to miss tons of other items, and I wasn't able to read everybody's comments, so sorry if I didn't get to your comment and put your, what you found down. I'll do my best, but of course, the comment section has gotten quite a bit full. Now, I won't be able to do this too much justice, as I'm just a simple guy, and if you guys have any additional information on some of these pieces, just comment down below. For number 10, we got Bionicle Bed Sheets. Of course Bionicle had bed sheets. What LEGO theme didn't have bed sheets? Now, I honestly hit myself in the head for not even thinking about this, as most common brands usually have bed sheets for kids. Ugh, what a fool. Anyway, so basically, it looks like this was released from the Toa Mata all the way up until Bionicle's cancellation. The most common ones I've seen are the Toa Metru, the Toa Nuva, the Mari, and the Baraki. Now, of course, there could be many more out there that are undocumented, as these sort of things seem to just kind of pop out of nowhere. We don't even know really where these were sold, although my best guess is likely Legoland and the Lego store, but this is just guesswork on my part. These could have been sold on other retail stores like TJ Maxx and so on and so forth. Of course, there could be many more out there, and if you have any more information regarding these, definitely put it down below. I put these at the bottom of the list because generally I think most people probably know that LEGO themselves would do this. I mean, I probably would do this if I had the most bankable LEGO brand at the time. Anyway, moving on. For number 9, we have one of the strangest collaborations I think I've ever seen. Bionicle teamed up with Nike to give their fans Bionicle Shoes. Yep, now you can have the power of Takanuva on your feet, the Toa of Light. And now, the Toa of Running. Honestly, these are pretty sick, and if I had known these existed, I probably would have bought them myself. Now, I believe they go up from the Toa Nuva all the way to the Toa Hordica, as I've seen reports of these various types, but there isn't that many pictures, so if you have these, please post them. I can't imagine many people kept these, as this is a point in your life where you're going to grow out of these pretty quickly, and I'm sure most people threw these away after a while, but I'm curious how the mask held up over time, so if you had any of these, please comment below and tell me, did the mask hold up, or were these shoes notoriously fragile and, not that great of quality? Of course, this wouldn't be the last time LEGO partnered with a shoe company, as we have the Adidas shoe, and various other shoes that were made by Adidas with the LEGO brand. I found this really funny comment on Reddit about this former LEGO employee who complained that he had to help kids basically measure these shoes when he was a LEGO employee, and that really didn't need to be a thing. And I find that really funny. This also gives us a pretty good indication that these were sold in LEGO stores, and likely at Legoland stores. They're a pretty neat novelty piece, and I'm sure you can pretty much find them for nothing! Well, I guess there goes my dream of having Bionicle shoes to work. Oh well, I guess now I can just Photoshop them on world leaders. I have to mention the memes are quite funny, and also, I don't think I mentioned this, but the masks are removable, so if you don't want to get your mask damaged, you can do that. These are quite rare, and I guess if you can get a hold of them, you're a true Bionicle fan? I mean, these are pretty weird to begin with, but they were neat for the time, and I'm sure they made plenty of kids the coolest kids at school. I hope. For number 8, we have yet another weird collaboration with another company. This time, Bionicle would collaborate with Colgate. Now, LEGO themselves actually did a few sets with Colgate back in the early 90s, but as far as I'm aware, this is the first collaboration that actually involved them having the physical piece on the toothbrush. Now, don't get excited that, oh, it's actually a Bionicle toothbrush. More or less, the mask is just the cover for the toothbrush, and you can actually use the toothbrush itself. What I really appreciate, though, is that they actually use the physical mask. Some Bionicle specialized accessories often don't include the mask and just use weird replacements, so I have to give credit where credit is due that they actually went the long mile and used real physical Bionicle mask. Now in 2004, Colgate decided to run a competition with the toothbrushes. I'm not exactly sure how this worked, but according to the advert, you would basically play their crappy game on the Bionicle website and then enter some sort of code when you got a certain level, and then you had a chance of winning certain prizes such as the newest Toa Metru set, a 24 karat gold howl, and then just various other Bionicle related media, which is pretty neat. Honestly, that in itself could be a video for another topic. I've actually played the Bionicle Colgate game and it's awful. I'm not even sure how exactly you would win this, but apparently it was a competition. It was also sponsored by Cartoon Network, which is pretty neat. LEGO and Cartoon Network have collaborated several times, and even to this day, Ninjago airs exclusively on Cartoon Network. Anyway, moving on. For number 7, we have the strangest on the list, and probably the most mysterious in my opinion. Now, these products in and of themselves don't have a lot of information attached to them, but you can understand why LEGO made them. Bed sheets, kids want their favorite toys on their bed sheets. Toothbrushes, kids want to brush their teeth with their favorite toys. LEGO shoes, I guess people want to walk over their enemies with LEGO shoes. But in Russia, and only in Russia, LEGO released Bionicle Pogs. Yeah. Now, according to this website, they were actually given away with Russian Cheetos sold to kids. And I'm not exactly sure whether or not Pogs were popular in Russia at the time, or if LEGO felt this was their best way of getting into that market of younger audiences, as kids would see these with their purchases and want to actively go out and buy the sets themselves. Of course, this could be a regional thing, as this was only done in Russia, and these Pogs are exceedingly rare. The only person who's ever posted anything about this is Bionicle Universe, who I'd highly recommend you check out his Instagram, as he posts a lot of obscure Bionicle stuff, and it's partly because of him I became aware of these. For number 6, we have the Bionicle pencil case holder. Now, it's pretty self-explanatory. This was made for kids to have various accessories be portable, but I believe that the pencils were also included to basically give kids a starter. Now, it's very strange that according to Wikipedia, it says these pencil cases came out a year after the mainline releases came out. What I mean is, for example, the Vizorock pencil case says that it came out in 2006, which makes it a year after the Web of Shadows. And then for the Mari, it says it came out in 2008, a year after the Mari sets had already been released. Not exactly sure why that was done, but apparently Wikipedia is the word now. That's all I have to say about these. They're just kind of pencil carriers. I don't think your average fan knows about them, but they existed. I don't know if they were sold at Legoland or if you could get them at other retail stores. It's another mysterious piece of Bionicle media that's just kind of faded. For number 5, we have the Bionicle Cap. Now you might be asking to yourself, wait a minute, it's not obscure merchandise. I've seen plenty of people wear it. Well, yes, that's the 3 Virtues cap. The one I'm talking about are the ones LEGO made that are undocumented. Of course, the 3 Virtues cap is probably the most famous, but from the looks of it, LEGO also produced more. I can't find anything else about these other caps that are out there, but I know more exist, as generally when it comes to merchandise, LEGO just doesn't make one. They make much more. So apparently there's a Tahu version and a Toa Hordika one. If those exist, then I wouldn't put it past them that a Toa Metru version exists, a Toa Ignika. Heck, there could be a Toa Mari cap out there. It's just that we don't have any pictures or any other evidence that these exist. It just seems weird to me that LEGO would make only a few caps for these generations, which likely means there's more out there. For number 4, we have Bionicle CD-ROMs in cereal boxes. Now, in the early 2000s, LEGO was very tech demo-y. What I mean is, basically, they were experimenting with software, and a lot of times they would include disc and sets and certain promotions. I mean, we have the famous Bionicle CD pack and various other media like that. A couple sets came with the CD-ROMs, as we know. But the strangest tie-in that LEGO did with CD-ROMs was in, of all cereals, Cheerios. Yes, my favorite cereal of all times. Of course, these ROMs don't have any long-lost information that could benefit Bionicle lore or some sort of that. They mostly were just demonstrations of what Bionicle was all about. Occasionally they'd have a game or some kind of teaser trailer or some sort. Generally nothing that could be considered lost media, but I don't think your average Bionicle fan really knows that Bionicle and LEGO in the early 2000s were like, you get a CD-ROM, and you get a CD-ROM, and you get a CD-ROM, demonstrating basically what their products were all about. Now, these Cheerio boxes are actually quite rare. I've seen a couple pictures of true collectors who have these, but if you can get your hands on it, I guess it's something that is quite rare and a lot of people don't know about, and more power to you. Number 3 is quite an interesting one that I wasn't expecting to find. Apparently, Bionicle had keychains. Yeah. Of course, I never got to go to a LEGO store or Legoland when Bionicle was in production, but I had no idea that Bionicle actually had keychains. Now, of course, you've got your standard ones. You have the ones with the 3 Virtue and the one with the Bionicle font. But there were a couple that actually contained the mask of various Bionicle characters. There was a keychain that had the Crota mask. There was a keychain that basically had Taragoduma's mask. And there was a keychain that had Toa Hordika Vakama's mask. But, like I said earlier, there could be many more out there that we're just not aware of, as these could be very well poorly documented. Of course, I was shocked myself that LEGO even made keychains for Bionicle, and that really goes to show you how many obscure Bionicle pieces of media really exist that we're just scratching the surface. This really needs to be more well documented, and if you have these in your personal collection, you're very lucky. I'll just tell you that, because I wish I had these. For number 2, we have yet another cereal tie-in. However, it's with Nesquik. Now, LEGO and Nesquik had collaborated before with the Nesquik promotional sets in the early 2000s. However, in 2006, for inexplicable reasons, LEGO decided to partner up with Nesquik again to give us the nightmare fuel that is the Bionicle Nesquik figurines. Now, these make the 2005 and 2007 Bionicle figurines look excellent. They're literally nightmare fuel. and they're probably the only reason anyone remembers these. Frustratingly, I can't find any information on if these were international or regional. The only ad I found on them were in Bulgarian, and the only two other advertisements for them are in Russian and French, which really don't help. Comment below if these were sold in the US or if this was just a regional thing that was only done in Europe. I'd love to know. And I'd honestly love to get my hands on one of these figurines, as they look compatible with the actual Bionicle system, as in the pin connection. That's all I have to say about these. They're pretty obscure, but generally most people know about them. However, the next piece I'm about to cover, no one knows. For honorable mentions, there will be no honorable mentions. I've decided to let the comments just go rampant, and you guys tell me if you found anything more obscure than what I've covered. I mean, I'm sure there's way more out there than what I've covered, and we'll probably be making a part 3 if there's enough demand for it. Anyway, let's move on. For number 1, we have yet another Nesquik promotional tie-in with Bionicle, with their cereal brand. However, this is quite different. As I stated before, the previous Nesquik figurines are kind of known. I don't think your general Bionicle fan knows about them, but they're not that obscure. However, these ones, literally nobody talks about, or I think even knows. In 2006, once again, to promote the Bionicle Ignica, Nesquik, instead of releasing figurines like they had done, or something just generally new, they decided to release Bionicle Spinners. These were plastic spinners that had the face of the toy Ignica and Paraka that you could shoot. Now, I've only found a few pictures of the actual spinners themselves, but there's literally like no good photos of these. And most of the photos that exist are generally from the promotional sets themselves. Now, I've even found conflicting reports on where this was sold. Wikipedia lists these as being sold in only Mexico and Spain. However, I found an English ad on YouTube promoting these. So, who knows if they were international or only in Spanish-speaking countries. This product itself is nothing like anything I've covered before. Everything else on this list has generally had forums and discussion boards talking about them, but this spinners have literally nothing. No one remembers these, no one talks about these. I haven't seen any videos about these, and unlike everything else on this list, these literally are unknown and obscure. Comment below if you have any of these and if you can solve the mystery. I believe a lot of the mystery surrounding this merchandise issue can be solved. LEGO just poorly documents a lot of their stuff being released, and with Bionicle, they wanted to cash in as much money as they could, so I'm sure a lot of stuff was released that was just never documented. So just comment below, and hopefully you can give us light on some of the mysteries that elude these. If there's one thing we can learn about Bionicle's merchandise, we can learn that LEGO really cared deeply about Bionicle, and they really felt that it was a great brand, as they branched out with different and unique products. Of course, nowadays that's not the case anymore, but generally speaking, I was impressed with the amount of content and various forms of merchandise. They definitely milked it, but it's really impressive, and it shows how dedicated they were to getting Bionicle on the scene. Now, it's impossible to know how much merchandise that we don't even know about is out there. There literally could be other things out there that nobody else knows about. These spinners are obscure, but there could be something even more obscure out there. So, comment below. Do you own any of these obscure pieces of Bionicle media? And with this, I will go back into slumber. My name is Mask Maker Buddy, and have a good night.